Good evening, everyone. How are you all? It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. Let's open the beer. What a week. What a week. I know I say that every week, but it's been a particularly busy one this week. But I'm not complaining. It's better than working for a living. So how's everyone doing? Excuse me while I just pour this. Let's see who we've got in tonight. Lots of familiar names here. We've got Derek, we've got Chip, we've got Johnny, we've got Anton, we've got Sean, Deco, Patrick, how are you, mate? Johnny Random, he's in. Robster Boy, Sarge is in. How are you, mate? Phil Jones, all of the regulars are all sort of shuffling in, aren't they? Cheers, everyone. Oh, dear me. Yes, indeed. First one of the week. Where are we? Oh, cheers from Canada, says Truman. Well, cheers from not very pleasant Redcar today. Hi, Ian. How are you, mate? Right. Well, hopefully the ads have got out of the way. So let me just tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. It's Saturday tomorrow, isn't it? Yes. So remember that Christmas tune I was working on, that version of Prokofiev's Troika? That's done. That's in the can. That's going live tomorrow, 12 o'clock, 12 noon UK time. That will be going up. Then on Monday, it's a solo, as is usually the case on Sunday. Excuse me while I just adjust this light. Here, see if we can get a bit more illumination. A bit better, I suppose. Yes, Monday it's a solo. Now then, here's one for you. Which guitarist connects these two bands? Thin Lizzy and Pink Floyd. Which guitarist, connects those two bands, and what is his biggest, most recognizable song? I'm sure many people will know. So anyway, that's the solo we're doing on Monday. Then on Tuesday, Christmas deliveries willing, we are looking at a fantastic, I think, little effects pedal. Yes, indeed, Snowy White. That's the fella. Bird of Paradise. That's a solo that we're taking apart on Monday. I've had loads of requests for that one, so that's what we're doing. Then Tuesday, it's a review. As I say, hopefully the delivery turns up on time. This time of year, it's anybody's guess, though, isn't it? But there is a fantastic little, I think, effects pedal. I think it's fantastic. I've heard nothing but good stuff about it. Do you remember in the 80s, the Schultz Rockman? I was looking at getting one of those because I thought, yeah, they won't be that expensive now. Oh, really? Yes, one of the original ones. Hundreds of pounds. So, but then I came across this little effects pedal for about 70 quid that gets you a long way towards that sort of Rockman sound, plus lots of other things. So we're having a look at that on Tuesday. Wednesday, we are looking at, well, it's the next installment in the blues guitar series. A few arpeggios flying around this week. And then we are, on Thursday, we're going to be looking at some of the kind of stocking filler kind of gifts that us guitarists really want, rather than a pair of socks that have guitars printed on them, So, yes, Bird of Paradise, Snowy White. Yes, everybody's got it. So that's the solo for Monday. Just finished recording that today, and really, really enjoyable to do. Anyway, excuse me, urgent business. Oh, nothing quite tastes like the first one, does it? So, here we go. Let me just pour this and I'll be back with you in a second. I'm trying to kind of not embarrass myself by getting a ridiculous foamy head on it like I did last week, and somebody said, do you want a flake with that? There we go. Right. Anyway, I'll try and take my time on this one. Any Robin Trower fans about? Well, you're talking to one, mate. You know, Bridge of Sighs. I mean, admittedly, it is the only Robin Trower album I've got, but you know, it's you know, it's a fantastic album. Pete's saying, this is why I love this channel. Well, thank you very much. Who is Snowy White? He is a guitar player, funnily enough, and he did some sort of sessions. I'm not entirely sure on the details, but he did do some sessions with Pink Floyd, and he was a member of Thin Lizzy. And he's one of these guys who, when you kind of read the album credits from like a lot of albums that you've kind of listened to and loved over the years, and you look at who's played on it, you know, his name often crops up. Fantastic guitarist. He's very much in the David Gilmour, Peter Green vein of playing. Really, he's just a really got a really exquisite touch, and you know, I mean, he can fling around the neck at some speed, at some rate of knots if he has to. But you know, it's that sort of that ear for the right note at the right time, and you know, that's what he's got. He's a fantastic guitar player. Let's just have a read of the chat. John, have those guitars on your wall moved since your new one arrived? No. I am thinking of thinning the herd a little bit, I'll be honest with you. But what have I got? I've got the Gordon Smith. That's not going anywhere. I got rid of a Gordon Smith once before and regretted it for 20 years. The Nashville Telecaster, well, that was given to me as a gift, and, you know, sentimental value associated with that. The acoustic, actually, the acoustic has been off the wall. I use that quite a lot when I'm recording backing tracks. The PRS copy, the Harley Benton, again, sentimental value there. The charity shop Telecaster would probably fetch me about 25 pence if I was to sell it, so might as well hang on to that. The bass I need, and the Strat copy, well, that you can see right there at the back there, that's there for the rare occasions when I need a trem. So, you know, it's hard to think which ones I'd get rid of. Snowy White's real name is Terence Charles White. Do you know, I should have mentioned that in the video, but too late. It's finished now. I never thought to Google it. I've always just known him as Snowy White. Yes, Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees, indeed, says Brad. Yeah, it was who else? Wasn't it Johnny Halliday? Johnny Halliday, wasn't it? Like the French Elvis. That he did a tour with as well, and you know, and yeah, a bit of an odd match, but then again, it was the 60s, and you know, such things happened back then. Snowy White also worked with Peter Green. I did not know that. Well, you can definitely hear an influence in his playing. Hope you're not moaning about curtains this week, and have you pulled yourself together? Oh, here we go. Yes. Yes, the old ones are the best, aren't they? It's like, you know, if ever you meet someone who works for the Royal Mail, you know, postman or something like that, you know, you just, and they're moaning about their job, just say, well, it's better than walking the streets, isn't it? So, where are we? So let me just reorganize things here. Let me just check here. Am I still connected? I appear to be. Yes. Just the chat seems to have slowed down a little bit. Snowy White Gold Top Session album. Great. I shall have to check that out. Here we go. Oh, the chat's catching up now. I've stopped buying guitars only because I've run out of room. Evening, Craig. How are you, mate? Evening, Malcolm. Evening, Brian. Dave Lewis is in. Snowy White was the guitarist who played live at Earl's Court with a mask on when Pink Floyd did the Wall concerts. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I knew that. Pink Floyd often have the other guitar player there. I mean, Tim Rennick did at least a couple of tours with Floyd, didn't he? What's the latest with the decals, John? Still waiting for them, is the short answer. Dan is chasing them up, and they will be here when they'll be here. To be honest with you, it's not something I'm losing a lot of sleep over. Obviously, when other people buy one of these guitars, I want the decals and everything on it then. But my guitar, it's just, it'll be a finishing touch, but it's not something I'm particularly impatient about. What's your opinion on the band Sweet? Yeah, they were that curious thing of the 70s, weren't they? They were a rock band who managed to market themselves as teeny bopper pop. Slade, another incarnation of that. Slade were a rock band, no two ways about it, and so were Sweet. I mean, Blockbuster. Just happy memories of that sort of time. Ballroom Blitz, and then what was that last big hit they had? I think it was in the early 80s. Love Is Like Oxygen. Nice one, Craig. Glad to hear it, mate. John, you don't have to worry about the pelmet matching the curtains. Yes, indeed. Yes. Master of the double entendre there. Snowy White is great on the Roger Waters DVD in the flesh, also with Doyle Bramall second. I didn't see. This is why I love this kind of back and forth, because I get to discover things that I would never have thought of before. I've never really kind of looked into Roger Waters' solo stuff beyond that Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking album that I keep banging on about. But to me, that's just a Clapton album with Roger Waters singing on it. Now I've got 5 electric and 2 acoustic. Should I stop buying? No. It's why do you need 2 acoustics if that's not a silly question? Yeah, the chat is very laggy, Anton. I was a bit worried there, because usually when it's lagging, it means that I've lost my internet connection. But all strong and healthy at this end, it has to be said. Although uploading videos to YouTube in the past week or so, I have noticed that they've been having a lot of issues, and they're saying kind of analytics are unavailable and this isn't working at the moment, and that might not be accurate, and lots of known issues like that they've been talking about. So who knows? It's technology, isn't it? And every now and again it needs a kick. Yes, Robster Boy, the 60s and the 70s were the days of the best rock of all time, and I would agree with you on that one, mate. And that's not just some crusty kind of middle-aged bloke getting all rose-tinted about the music of his youth. I honestly think that any art form has a golden age. We talk about the golden age of Hollywood. And, well, I think in essence, what with things like Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff like that at the moment, we're kind of living through a golden age of television. There are a lot of good TV shows out there nowadays. These box sets, which is, if I do watch TV, that's the sort of stuff I watch. And you can usually define the golden age of any art form as being the time when there are no rules and everybody's just kind of experimenting and finding where the boundaries are. And I think that's really why the 60s and the 70s were the golden age of rock music, because that's when, you know, that say in the late 60s with albums like Sergeant Pepper and Pet Sounds and stuff like that, it became more about just kind of getting a collection of songs that worked cohesively together as an album, you know, rather than just a bunch of singles and some B-sides to fill it up. And the album became you know, an art form in itself. And, you know, that sort of happened in the 60s and 70s. And I think some of the best music of the rock genre happened in that period. Okay, I'm getting into the blues, says Pete. What's the first album I should buy? Okay, I don't know if it's still available, but in the 90s, there was like a box set of albums on CD called the Blues Guitar Box, the Big Blues Guitar Box or box set or something like that. And, you know, I still listen to that. But if you want a really good blues album, then check out Showdown by Robert Cray, Albert Collins, and Johnny Copeland. That's a fantastic album, not a bad track on it. Texas Flood, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, another classic blues album. If you like your blues with a slightly kind of more exotic jazzy tinge, then check out Midnight Blue by Kenny Burrell. That's another great album. You did front stage security at the Wall all 6 nights. Oh, nice one, Deco. Did you get any kind of, you know, privileged access? Did you kind of, you know, come away from it with an autograph or two, or, you know, any anecdotes that you can tell us completely in confidence here? Of course, we won't share them. Got 3 electrics and an acoustic. Should I learn to play them, or is that optional? It's a fun journey, mate. You know, it's you know, I mean, it's just personally me. I just like figuring out new stuff and figuring out how to do stuff, whether that's on the guitar or whatever. You know, like a couple of years ago, I get really nerdy now. A couple of years ago, I figured out how to make gravy from scratch. You know, like using, you know, just the way a chef would do it, rather than just pouring boiling water onto some instant granules. And that was a big buzz for me, you know. So it's like figuring out how to do stuff is always a buzz for me. And that's, you know, so yeah, learn to play. It's fun. You have 7 acoustics, Malcolm. Dearie me. And I didn't know there were 7 different types of acoustic guitar, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, I've got like a cheap Dreadnought there that I just use for recording. You've seen it in a bunch of videos. And, you know, it just adds a bit of texture to mainly the electric guitar stuff that I do. But, you know, I wouldn't know where to start with 7 acoustics. Yeah, the 70s had Bowie, Sabbath, Thin Lizzy, AC/DC, and the Smurfs. So, okay, you have to bring up the Smurfs, don't you? Indeed. Anyway, yes. I mean, there was always, you know, kind of throwaway pop music for every generation. You know, I mean, I come from the generation of people that sent, you know, Joe Dolce with "Shut Up Your Face" to #1 in the charts. So, you know, there's always been the kind of questionable stuff around, hasn't there? Daily May, I'm going through that beer quick. Never knew Watkins made guitars. Thought it was just a WEM amps. Yes, the Watkins Rapier. That was quite the guitar to aspire to when I first started playing. You know, it was vaguely a Strat copy kind of thing. And, you know, you see that back in those days, you know, late 70s, about 77, 78, when I first started playing, you just took it for granted that you would never own a Fender or a Gibson or a Rickenbacker or something like that. You know, those things were pipe dreams. That was like, you know, a car driver thinking, well, I'd like an Aston Martin, but I'll never be able to afford one. That was kind of how you viewed the big famous guitar brands. So what you wanted was something that was, played nice and sounded reasonably good, and maybe, yes, had a bit of street cred about it. And the Watkins Rapier was kind of fitted well into that category. I live in Germany, and I showed my German family the Two Ronnies fork handles sketch. They loved it. Yeah, it's a classic sketch. Yeah, as you may know, I've got an album called Handles for Forks, which is on the cover. There are 4 candles on it, and I did a couple of interviews with US radio stations when I released the album, and trying to explain the significance of the title and the cover art. It was it was one of those kind of things that if you didn't have that cultural reference, you were kind of lost a little bit, I suppose. Anyway, are we all geared up for next week? By the way, we're doing it's the 18th next week, just the week before Christmas, and we'll be doing a bit longer live stream, so I may have to pace myself a little bit slower than I am doing tonight. As it happens over Christmas, what's happening on the channel is there will probably not be any content going up between about the 22nd, 23rd till the New Year's. So I'm afraid you'll just have to live without any John Robson videos for that amount of time. Basically we've got Christmassy family sort of stuff to be doing, and all within the rules. Don't worry. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to try and put video content together then, and I think 1 week off a year, I think even I'm entitled to that. The chat is very laggy tonight, isn't it? I'm noticing that it'll freeze for a while, and then it just kind of zooms up and catches up. So let's use this opportunity to kind of scroll back up through the chat and see some of the comments that I've missed. Can I get a Vox AC30 type sound without paying £1,000 for an AC30? Yeah. Excuse me. That's a tricky one. You can get a pretty good facsimile of pretty much most amplifiers in some shape or form. Whether you're using Marshall. If you want a Marshall sound, and for all you really ever want is a Marshall sound, then just get Blue Cat Freeamp. The classic drive setting on that is really, really good at Marshall. Fender and other amps, but these modeling kind of things, and amp sims and stuff, for me, they always seem to struggle with a Vox sound. I have heard good things about these little micro amps that Vox are doing nowadays. I can't for the life of me remember the name of them, but they are I think they are a genuine tube amp, and you'll need a speaker cab to go with it as well. But I've not heard anything but good reports about those in terms of capturing that essential AC30 sound. So just check them out. Let me just Google it on the other machine, actually, while I'm here. Let me just open a browser window over here. See, this is the kind of research I do for you people. So Vox micro amp. There we go. Yeah. Oh, no. And this machine is running like a bag of spanners tonight. So here we go. Powerful pocket-sized heads. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, the Vox MV50 series amps. You know, about between 100 and 150 quid, and you know, just like a little kind of thing that looks about the size of a sort of Tupperware lunchbox kind of thing. And lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of 5-star reviews. So yeah, that might be something worth checking out, mate. Anyway, back to the chat. Brad saying, is your family likely to ask play us a song, John? They might say play us a song. They'll never say sing us a song because they know what my singing voice is like. Chris Rea, awesome guitarist. Your neck of the woods, John? Yes, indeed, Timbo, mate. Chris Rea, his family used to have a chain of ice cream parlours round Teesside, and you know, I remember like when I was really, really little, going in there for a special treat, an ice cream sundae or a Knickerbocker Glory or whatever. And you know, there was this kind of callow youth waiting on tables with long hair, and he would, when he wasn't kind of delivering your ice cream and your frothy coffee to your table, he was sat in the corner plunking away on the guitar. And next thing I know, Chris Rea is in the charts, you know, with Fool If You Think It's Over. As a singer-songwriter, the acoustics are your main tool. Well, fair enough, Malcolm. You know, I envy people like you, Malcolm, who can just pick up a guitar and, you know, you've got if you're a singer, then you've got a reasonable good voice, you know, presumably. And, you know, you can pick up a guitar and you can be like the entertainment. You know, you can be the full kit and caboodle, that you're the full band. I've always felt more comfortable when I've got a bass player and a drummer and stuff behind me, to be honest with you. Yes, those microamps are the MV50 series, Jimmy. Yes, sorry, the chat is very, very laggy tonight, so I'm probably putting stuff out there, and you know, the chat's taking a while to catch up. Do you need a stack of AC30s to play in the bedroom? I don't know, but I do remember. Does anybody remember that wallpaper you could get? And this was back in, I think, either the late 90s or early 2000s, where you could get wallpaper that was like matching, and like one wall, it was like a kind of whole wall of Marshall, or, you know, choose your amplifier, you know, Marshall or Vox or whatever. So you could kind of be pretending you were standing in front of a wall of Marshalls, and then the other wall was like, you know, looking out from on stage at Wembley or something. It was a fantastic idea. Anyone got a classical guitar? Yeah, now there's a thing, isn't it? You know, I think we all have memories of classical guitars that we started on. I mean, I think the first guitar I played was a classical guitar, one of the ones that was on the rack in the music room at school where I used to hang out on a lunchtime. And, you know, you just get... they were impossible to keep in tune. They had a horrible high action and sounded like, you know, a plastic ukulele. And it's the one thing I've never really played. I've played a lot of nice guitars in my time, but I've never really gone and investigated it like a kind of proper top-end quality classical guitar. Maybe something I should do. Hi, John. Who is the greatest film musical composer of all time? Oh, dear me. Bernard Herrmann springs to mind. Maybe, and this is a guy who is known primarily for writing, for scoring the Simpsons, but Danny Elfman. Who else? Hans Zimmer, maybe, Ennio Morricone. You're probably getting a bit of an insight into my taste in movies at the moment. Yeah, those are a few that spring to mind whose work I particularly enjoy. Chris Rea doesn't get enough attention from guitar tutors. Real shame. Is that some kind of hint you're dropping there, Super Mosman? Shall I do some Chris Rea on the channel? I should. I really should, shouldn't I? I don't think I ever have. As a Telly fan, did you ever get your hands on an original Tokai Breezy sound? Original ones cost a fortune these days. No, Nancy, I didn't. I've played plenty of Tokais, but not one of the original ones from when, I guess it was the early 80s, wasn't it? When, Tokai started, when that sort of lawsuit era, when Tokai were challenging Fender. Essentially, I think they bounced Fender into kicking off the whole Squire thing, didn't they? Nowadays, bands have hollow amp stacks on stage and go straight into the desk. Yeah, this is it. It's just part of the backdrop, isn't it? It's you just take a laptop with your amp sims on with Guitar Rig or whatever, or Helix Native, or you take a Kemper along, and then you've got some dummy Marshall cabs behind you. Where are we? Does anyone have fond memories of the Watkins Dominator amplifier? Yes. Yes. Back when I was at school, we had a bit of a trendy music teacher, Mr. Coffee, he was called. And it was the school was kind of built in the early 70s, and it was all high tech for that age, and it had its own kind of music production suite with a Vox Continental organ. Anybody remember those? One of those was in there, and all kinds of stuff. And there was a Watkins Dominator amp there, and I played through it in a Christmas concert once at school. John, I bought a Boss vocoder pedal so I can go to any pub and sing now. Fair enough, mate, Dave. Fair enough. Craig had a flamenco guitar and studied flamenco for a bit. It's quite difficult but fun. Yeah, this is. I've read about flamenco guitar, and it's all kind of like the weird time signatures from what I've told. I should kind of get more into it. I call myself a guitar player, and there's huge areas of ignorance in my knowledge. I'm ashamed to say I've never really looked into flamenco seriously, but just when you're kind of thumbing through the pages of guitar magazines as you did in the day, there was. I seem to remember there was a thing on flamenco in there, and it's all kind of like, 7/16 time or something like that, So I should really kind of investigate that. Let me just scroll back up through the chat again, see if there's anything I've missed. Do you mean, Malcolm, you're on 15-year-old Grolshire? Where are we? Here we go. I do like the percussive acoustic players like Mike Dawes, very impressive playing. Yeah. That's I mean, the first player I really saw who did that was what's he called? I can't think of his name, but you know who I mean. He's the guy who had that huge viral YouTube video where he did like a solo guitar version. Andy McKee, that's what he's called, of Africa. And that to me that was as revolutionary, seeing that as probably what it must have been like if you were used to Hank Marvin and the Ventures and stuff like that, and then suddenly you saw Jimi Hendrix. fantastic, just game-changing stuff. And again, it's one of those things that I should really sort of have a go at teaching myself how to do, but it's like, when do I find the time? Let's go back down here, see what... when I worked for Thin Lizzy, we had empty cabs, but for TV work, well, fair enough, yeah. It's just part and parcel of, I mean, some people tend to think of it as cheating, having those dummy cabs behind you, and I suppose I was kind of that way for a while. But when you think of it, it's the entertainment business, if we're thinking in broad terms, and it's about setting the scene. It's like, you go to a theatre and you expect to see, some kind of scenery on stage or whatever. Did you like the Nad Sylvan song, Steve Hackett and Guthrie Govan solo? Yes, I did, Johnny. Yes, very, very enjoyable. Thank you. Road to Hell tabs, John, please. Consider it done, mate. Yes. I've done lots of solos on the channel, and I've done a bit of slide on the channel, but I've never dissected a slide solo. So that ties in nicely with the whole Chris Rea thing. So I'm not promising before Christmas, but certainly in the coming videos, we shall see. Timbo saying I should be on Andertons. Well, if they ask, but it's almost becoming like anybody outside the UK will wonder what I'm talking about now. But there used to be a talk show in the UK called Parkinson. And, once you'd appeared on Parkinson, that was it. You'd made it. It was like having your waxwork in Madame Tussauds, wasn't it? And it's almost becoming that way with the guitar community. Once you get asked to go and meet the captain, that's it. You're legit. Oh, by the way, I have acoustics tuned to G, D, C, and Dadgad. Oh, well, fair enough. I see why you kind of you need a few then, Malcolm. Fair enough. Yes, that's another thing I should really do something on, really, isn't it? Alternate tunings. Did anybody see the Rick Beato video this week on alternate tunings? It's. I think there was one tuning conspicuous by its absence. I don't think, if I'm correct, I don't think he mentioned Open G. And the first song I ever played in Open G wasn't a Rolling Stones song, funnily enough. It was, I think it was Down Down by Status Quo. I think that's in Open G, if I'm thinking of the right one. Yeah, flamenco, it's a bit different time signatures and the strumming patterns and the picking very different, but good because I try to incorporate my own style of playing. Well, good for you, mate. Good for you, Craig. It's what keeps music fresh, isn't it? When you kind of bring in, new influences and stuff. And, and I won't pretend that every new guitar innovation works. I mean, for instance, the whole kind of 90s thing where metal and rap kind of crossed over, that was just, a closed book to me. But you know what? It got people interested in guitar who maybe wouldn't otherwise have been interested in guitar, to begin with. And, it's all about bringing fresh blood into the, or new blood into the genre and keeping it current. Bad news tour speakers were just loads of black cardboard boxes with flashing LEDs stacked to the ceiling. Fantastic day night, I'll never forget. Fair enough, yeah. Does anybody remember Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer on Top of the Pops when they were doing that cover version of Dizzy, and instead of like a wall of Marshall stacks behind them, they had like a wall of washing machines? um, just kind of hot point and Indesit washing machines, which was, I just thought was just a nice little send up. I saw actually a live gig on, I think it was on Sky Arts, where it was Rush, and I think it was on the Snakes and Arrows tour. And Geddy Lee has always just, for years, he'd just gone straight into the desk. So he didn't need an amp on stage. So he needed something behind him to kind of fill up that space to make the stage look balanced. And this one tour that I saw, there was like these kind of rotisserie machines with chickens on them. And every now and again, a little guy in a white chef's hat would come and take the chickens off and replace them, just again, just ridiculous, but good fun. Parkinson with Billy Connolly and Muhammad Ali, best episode ever. Yes, that was one of the shows when I was a kid. That was one of the things I was allowed to stay up late for, and it was usually on a Friday night, wasn't it? Yes, Stainsby Girls. That's a great track, isn't it, Das? Yes, about Stainsby School. My first guitar teacher when I was a spotty teenager was an elderly lady with serious personal hygiene issues. Didn't need to know the address. You followed the aroma till you're ready to. What's that? Bath. And then, sorry, these glasses need changing. Yes. Well, it's just that it's those kind of stories we all have, isn't it? Dinner tonight, could it be homemade Dan Sack, John? No, not Timbo. That's tomorrow. Curry night, unusually, is Saturday again this week. The current Mrs. Robson is currently doing a 2 till 10 shift at the local cab firm where she works on the control. So we're saving curry till tomorrow night when she's not at work, and I've got a kebab arriving about 7 p.m. So that's something to look forward to. Excuse me. May I drink? Yeah, Chris Rea's God's Great Banana Skin. That's a great album. That was like his kind of much awaited follow up to Road to Hell, wasn't it? It's just, I'll be honest with you, that Chris Rea has a special place in my memory, not just because, as I say, I used to kind of see him waiting on tables in the family ice cream parlor, but when I made that big leap, that thing that we all did in the late 70s, when you kind of finally thought, okay, I'm going to buy one of these newfangled compact disc players. One of the first albums I bought on CD, I think, was Tennis by Chris Rea, and just great album. He's a canny player, good singer-songwriter as well, so I shall have to do some stuff about his music on the channel. During the Christmas halls, could you give Wumbling Merry Christmas another listen and then assure me that I'm right for regarding it as a top tune? This is it. I mean, the Wombles. I mean, that was Chris Spedding, wasn't it? Motorbiking and all of that. That was his big solo hit, wasn't it? But cracking guitarist Chris Spedding, and when you've got like a songwriter like Mike Batt behind it all, it was throwaway kind of novelty pop, but it was done by good musicians who cared about the quality of the songs, and it wasn't just kind of throwaway stuff. A lot of, which is why it survives to this day, I think. Well, maybe I'm just being a bit misty-eyed and nostalgic. Truman, you've never eaten curry? Oh dear me! Yes, you have to try a curry. You have to try a. I could be cruel here and say yes. Go and get yourself a chicken Bangalore fowl. Don't. It's like eating napalm. You know, you just get yourself a nice kind of chicken Rogan Josh or chicken Dansak or something like that. You know, Boona, that's another nice one. And you know, it's just, well, it's part of our culture over here, and you know, it's a weekend wouldn't be a weekend without a curry. Chris Spedding is in the band Sharks. I did not know that. Again, I'm learning here. You know, I'm being culturally enriched. Jason Carter says, living in Germany, I'm a South Shields lad. I could kill for a good curry. Yes, there was an episode of Auf Wiedersehen back in the 80s, wasn't there, when they all went out for a curry in Germany. How about something easy on a video like Robin Ford Help the Poor? Yeah, well, okay, congratulations, mate. If you think that's an easy tune, you know, good for you, mate. I've done a Robin Ford sort of play like Robin Ford video a while ago, but it, you know, it's probably kind of lost somewhere in the YouTube algorithm. So I shall have to revisit the topic at some point. You need shares in Andrex to eat a curry. No, you just get acclimatized to it. John, what does the current mean? Good job as she can't eat you. No, it's a reference to one of my heroes, Terry Wogan. God bless him, and you know, God rest his soul. Terry Wogan, a bastion of UK broadcasting. For anyone who doesn't know, been married to the same woman for like 50 odd years, and whenever on his radio show, he always used to refer to her as the current Mrs. Wogan. And you know, so me and the missus have taken up that kind of thing. She refers to me as the current husband, and she's the current Mrs. Robson. Yeah, I mean, songwriters 10cc, Godley and Cream. Yeah, but the other two as well, you know, Graham Goldman and Eric Stewart. I mean, what I liked about 10cc was, and bear with me here, they were a little bit like the band, you know, the American Canadian, the band, in that, you know, on some tracks, you know, the lead guitarist was the lead guitarist and the singer was the singer, and so on and so on. But on the next track, the guy who was playing guitar, you know, might be playing the drums or the bass, or the drummer might be playing lead guitar or keyboards or something like that. They were just superbly talented and wrote massively good tunes. There was a brilliant documentary, I think, on BBC4 a few years ago, charting their history, and what an interesting watch that was. You know, the whole kind of story of Strawberry Studios as well. Excuse me. Tied into it, you know, fantastic band. And if you can find that documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but just do a YouTube search for 10cc documentary. Bus Stop that Goldman wrote for the Hollies was a weird little song. Yes, I did that actually. There's a lady who comes to me for guitar lessons, and you know, she's bless her, she's a lovely old soul, and she's an elderly lady, you know, and she took up guitar in retirement, and we did lessons on Zoom for a while during the obvious, you know, situation. And yes, that was just one song that she said, if I can learn to play that, you'll have done your job. So, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I took her through it, and it's, you know, she learned to play it, and she was so chuffed that she could, you know, play this song that she'd loved for years. Hang on, the chat's just catching up. John, do a 10cc vid. Okay, mate. I should be writing all this stuff down, but hang on, I've got to do a Chris Rea vid. I've got to do a 10cc video, and leave a comment in the comments after this video if I've forgotten anything. But yes, so 10cc and Chris Rea. 5705. Now then, Chip. Yes, someone remembers City Boy. Oh, okay, Jim. You've been trying to play the solo from Help the Pooh for about 6 months and still can't get it. How does he play like that? Because he's Robin Ford, basically, and he's got Robin Ford's superpowers. But yeah, I shall have a look at that. There's all sorts of. I mean, if it's a Robin Ford solo, then there's going to be all sorts of diminished scales and super Locrian stuff going on. Was Bust Off a rip-off of Things We Said Today by the Beatles? Well, they are similar, aren't they, Ozzy? Do a Saxon vid. Okay. I haven't got a pen and paper handy, but Chris Rea, 10cc, Saxon, Robin Ford. Okay. I'm sure I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't remember anything that you're telling me. But I shall scroll through the feed tomorrow, the chat tomorrow, or over the weekend at some point, and make some notes. Jason, yes, it is true, mate. That's apparently the case. I got the Harley Benton SC Special TV Yellow 2 days ago, and it's one of the best Bentons. Currently, I have to admit maybe something to review. Yes, well, there are more reviews coming up in the new year. I've the Glary guitar that is over here. This one. This is off to Zoe's place next week. That was just me chancing my arm, really. I just emailed Glary and said, I've got this piffling little YouTube channel with about a few thousand subscribers. Will you send me a guitar? And to me surprise, they said yes. So maybe I'm getting to that sort of level now where I can say, yeah, well, send me a guitar and I'll review it, and which means I don't have to have the outlay of actually paying for it. Any guitars, I will make this statement now, any guitars that do get sent to me for review where I haven't actually had to pay for them, they will be going to charity, probably Zoe's place. I'm not in the business of begging for guitars for me to keep. Would you do a vid on Guitar Pro? I already have, mate. I did a vid on how I tab stuff out in Guitar Pro. That's just search on my channel and you'll find that. If there's anything on there that is not, or that I didn't cover, then let me know and I'll try and amend matters. What about a breakdown on God Gave Rock and Roll to You? Now, there's someone who remembers Argent. Yes, indeed. What a great band they were. And Russ Ballard from Argent did the original version of Since You've Been Gone. Yeah, but it's a nice chord sequence that God Gave Rock and Roll to You. It's got not lots of like nice inversion chords in there, and stuff. It's not a million miles away from the sort of whiter shade of pale kind of thing. I still think you should visit the Gordon Smith factory, John, and make a video for us. It's a bit of a long way for me to get there, mate, to be honest with you. It's like right at the other end of the country, and I'm not saying no, but I'm saying it's the logistics of it will be difficult, but I shall look into it. Where are we? 19k subscribers, John. Great, but there should be more. Yeah, but I'm grateful for every one of them, mate. I'm not one of these who thinks that I'm not bringing a sense of entitlement where I should have more subscribers. I'm utterly and completely grateful for everybody who's pressed that subscribe button and the notification bell. I kind of plugged away at this channel for 10 years between 2008 and 2018, and managed to get about 300-400 subscribers. And, then in 2018, it just took off. And, I'm just grateful every day for that. Nobody has, or certainly I don't feel I have a right to, any kind of platform or attention from anybody. And it humbles me every day when I look at my YouTube channel and see how many people have decided to listen to what I say. It's massively humbling. Thank you, everyone. Didn't Russ Ballard chop huge chunks out of his Strat? Yes, he did. He had that Strat with the kind of holes drilled in it, didn't he? I don't think that was any kind of pursuit of tone. I think that was just like, let's do something a bit wacky on stage. Where are we? The chat seems to be catching up. Well, thank you very much, Robster Boy. It's very kind of you to say so. I have a pretty blessed life, really. I mean, I wake up on a morning, every morning, 5:30, the alarm goes off, and I just wake up and think, what am I going to do today? Oh yeah, I'm going to play guitar. And it's something that's it's paying the mortgage, it's paying the bills. My wife is in semi-retirement now. She can afford to just do a couple of shifts a week at the local cab firm. And it's, life ain't bad, so I'm not going to sit here complaining because I've got 19,000 subscribers when, people think I should have 100,000. Yeah, I'm perfectly content with my lot. Seriously. According to a YouTube ad I keep saying, 90% of beginners give up before a year. Year is out. Why is that? Speaking as someone who's been teaching the guitar for 30 years, next year it will be 30 years since I started. I tend to find that there are different types of beginners. There are people who it's not they want to play the guitar, it's they need to play the guitar. And those are the people who go on to be the kind of lifers, basically. Then there are the people who kind of think, well, yeah, it'd be quite cool to do, I've seen plenty of people playing the guitar, it can't be that difficult. And some of them become lifers. And then there are ones, and these are usually the ones who are, kind of, without being ageist about this, adolescents, who, their brother plays the guitar, brother or sister plays the guitar, and they want to be kind of part of that crowd, or the cool kids at school play the guitar, and they want to be part of that crowd. And they just kind of get into it for those kind of reasons. And again, some of them become lifers, but not many. So that's my experience of it. So it depends how you break down beginners. It depends how serious you are when you first start. When you see some channels with 3 million subs and their content is just annoying, it makes you wonder what the future holds, sadly. Yeah, but this is it. I mean, you look at some of the TV shows that get huge ratings. I mean, there's that what's she called, that car dashboard woman, and her clan. It's like, why would anyone watch that? But people do. There's There's nought to strangers folk, is that, as my old fella used to say. Anyway, chaps, I've run out of beer and we've been on an hour. So I'm going to take this opportunity to say, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for turning up once again. You've made an old man very happy, or a happy man very old. Take your pick. But for now, I'm going to call time and say, thanks again, folks. I'll see you all again next time. Time, gentlemen, please.